Going ahead over here, now we will see the data tab on your Rattle GUI. So as you can see over here between the tabs, if I just click on data tab, which is by default the first option, as we were discussing, that's how the process will funnel out. Right. So the first process is basically the data ingestion into any system in analytics. Right. So when we talk of data pipelines, modeling, testing, and productionization, the first step would always be about sourcing the data. So this is the most important aspect. So let's see the different options available over here. Now, as you can see over here, we have something called a source. We have a file, which basically means that if you want to load a data from a flat file like a CSV or maybe in an Excel format or something like that, or it's a tab separated file like a .txt, that's where we'll be using this option. That means you will be loading it from a hard disk. Now we also have the other options, as you can see over here. So let me first talk about ARFF. Now this file format is typically used maybe which needs the data definition file also to go along with that. So when you talk about a flat file system like this one, you would ideally not be having anything like the description of the file. Say for example, as you have done in your course prior to this, you would have seen something like a Boston housing data set, right? So along with that, you have a data dictionary file which talks about, okay, what are the various variables, how many number of records are there, how many columns are there, the brief description about each variable or column, so that we know what we are dealing with, right? But in a flat CSV file or in a tab separated file format, you wouldn't be having those details, right? Whereas if you are using something like an ARFF file format, which is basically used in softwares like Veka, then RapidMiner and so on, then in these cases you would have the data description also or the definitions also loaded when you are using these file formats. We are basically working more on R and on Python and mostly on flat file systems, so we'll be using typically this file format. Another option is that if you already have a workbench of MySQL, or if you have a database deployed in your local machine or on a server, then you could have used the Odbc also, which basically means that you want to connect to a database. Okay, so primarily we typically connect to MySQL. You could connect to Oracle, you could connect to some other databases also, depending upon whatever database is used. Then we have the R data set also. Now this typically, so let me just click and show you the change in the interface. So now with the Odbc you'll see a little difference, right? Again, these minute changes will happen over here. So for example, when you're talking over here, it's a file name. When you're coming over here, you will see the DSN, the tables, the row limit, whether you want to load all of the data or say the first 100 records and so on. So as you keep on changing between these options, you will see a little bit of difference. So you would not see a difference in the partitioning part over here, because this is what will remain common across whatever data you want to import. Because say you import, okay, so we have the partition over here, as we can say by default 70, 15, 15. We can deactivate this. We have the other options, and within that we can just click on our data set. We don't have an R data set in our system, so this is not activated. Incidentally, what we can do is we can go ahead and see for the other option, that is the R data file available next to the R data set. Now the R data file is nothing but once you have saved any of the global environments in your R, that obviously along with that the related R data file also would be available. If you click on the file name, you will see this window. Now I don't have any specific environment and the data file saved, the R data file, so I won't have anything to access it over here, right? So I wouldn't be doing this, but what you can do is, as a step, you can go ahead and do it for yourself to see how it works for you. Okay, so I would be going ahead and just canceling this process because I don't have this data set.